Picture an early morning in an English garden. Two men are dragging a heavy, coffin-shaped casket across a dewy cabbage patch. It's made of a strange, cloudy, ice-like material that burns the fingers to touch. Standing beside it in the pale, freezing air is Dr. Elwyn Ransom, a respected Cambridge academic, and he is taking off every piece of clothing he owns, stripping completely naked. He ties a thick black bandage over his eyes. Then, shivering and totally vulnerable, he lies down inside the cold box. His friend steps forward to complete the ritual. With a feeling of nightmare dread, he fastens the heavy lid down, sealing a living man inside an icebox. Outside this garden, the Second World War is raging. Why is an Oxford philologist avoiding the global conflict to seal himself in a box and vanish into the sky? The answer requires zooming out far beyond Earth. For millennia, our world has been entirely isolated, known to the wider solar system as the Silent Planet, a territory under deep cosmic siege by a dark, corrupting entity. But that ancient siege is breaking. The corrupting entity is now turning its attention to a new, unblemished target, the planet Venus. The scale of a massive cosmic war has suddenly been placed on the shoulders of one ordinary, exposed man. To make this journey, Ransom has to abandon every piece of human technology, tools, and defenses. His physical nakedness is mandatory. It is a total, literal break from human civilization and its mechanical ways of waging war. But he isn't going completely unarmed. He possesses one highly specific tool, an accidental fluency in an alien language he picked up during a previous cosmic kidnapping. This chart shows a language tree of Old Solar. It was originally a universal speech shared by all rational creatures in our solar system. Earth, however, permanently lost its connection to this universal language during our planetary tragedy, isolating our tongues entirely. That is why a mild-mannered academic is the perfect soldier for this phase of the conflict. He wasn't chosen for his physical combat skills. He was chosen because a linguist is the only human equipped to land on a virgin world and actually communicate. The launch itself involves zero machinery, no rockets, and no combustion. The entire casket is lifted and moved across the solar system by an Eldil, an angelic intelligence that does not experience time or physical weariness. It simply exists, holding planets in their orbits and easily carrying a wooden box. Ransom drifts off into space in complete silence, but he has to leave his friend behind to face the violently loud mechanical reality of Earth. Months stretch into over a year. The friend waits, enduring air raids, destruction, and the grinding news of the London Blitz. The bombs and artillery of Earth feel all-consuming, but they are just echoes of a much quieter, unseen, and vastly more important spiritual war that Ransom is fighting millions of miles away. Finally, more than a year later, the summons comes. A black speck appears against the sunrise, and the casket drops silently back into the now weed-choked garden. When they reach it, the sight is startling. The box is smashed to pieces, looking less like a vessel and more like a ruined tomb. The friends rush forward, seeing the body covered in a mass of red. But it isn't blood. It's a pile of delicate, unearthly red flowers from Venus. The figure in the coffin stirs. He blinks, shakes off the alien petals, calls them by their names, and steps out onto the grass. They had prepared to receive a starved corpse. Instead, they find a man who appears 10 years younger and far more vital than the one who left. Ransom stands before them as a man who has shed a decade of age. The weary, shivering scarecrow they sent away is gone, replaced by a body glowing with health. He has put on dense muscle, and his chest is now swept by a long beard of pure gold. But as he walks toward the house, they spot one final detail. Ransom is bleeding heavily from his heel. He mentions the hemorrhage has been going on for a long time. It is a literal, bodily scar brought back from a cosmic battle. This cosmic conflict demands physical sacrifice. It leaves literal scars on the heel and forces ordinary people to act as the frontline soldiers in a war between worlds.